it's Ashley from the Candle Collective, and I'm bringing you my yearly wrap-up video because everybody loves these videos, myself included. And if you're new here, my name is Ashley. I am a serial entrepreneur. I like to create and keep going businesses. And this one in particular is a candle company that I've been taking you guys along on this journey with me. And I like to share the ins and outs, the highs and lows, and all the in-betweens based on whatever mood I'm in. Very transparent and open, and hopefully what comes across as authentic, because it is just me and all of the feelings that come with it, but in a way that feels like consumable and in a way that doesn't feel overwhelming, because my whole idea behind this channel was to just kind of be like a coworker with you guys, to be right there with you and alongside you, and hopefully share some words of wisdom on things that I feel confident in, like business strategy and marketing, but also just be a liaison and someone that you can like shoot the shit with. That's my goal. So here we are. It is the first couple, and I am feeling enlightened and invigorated with all kinds of new content and things like that to share with you guys. But of course, the tried and true video that most small business owners and people on the YouTube platform share is like, here's my year recap and here's how things went, right? So if you watched a lot of my videos before, you know that I am like your mental health girly, right? So like no one needs a harsh mentee bee at the beginning of the year. And so I do tend to tread lightly with these types of videos for myself, because I feel like I just don't need to know like down to the penny. I mean, I don't know like what good that would actually do anyone, because at the end of the day, our businesses are always going to be apples and oranges. So I give more things like round numbers, kind of like 30,000 foot view, kind of like perspectives on things that are moving and grooving and what works and what doesn't, and so on and so forth. So that is still going to be the same case with this video as well. So if you watched my 2022 to 2023 video, it was the same thing. Hopefully you found that insightful. And now I'm doing the same thing, 2023 rolling into 2024, which is absolutely crazy. This is a big year for me personally because it's a milestone birthday year, you guys. But that's going to be another video. So here's what we've got. So if you have seen my other videos, like I've said before, you know that I am a pen and paper girly. And I did end up sharing these with you guys. I make these downloads off of Canva, and they literally have been with me since the start. And I don't update them very often at all, actually, because they're just a shell template. But what I do is I basically like make quarterly calendars for myself, because this is the way my brain works. I like to see things that are like parsed out enough, but also like enough of a planning view so that I don't, one, get too ahead of myself, or two, like if you ever have that feeling where you're like, oh my gosh, I have a million things that I have to do, and then you like actually write it out and you're like, oh, okay, well, it was really just like 4. That's kind of like how my brain works. So I have these quarterly download pages. Someone just bought them the other day and they were like, I was really expecting more. So just full disclosure, these are literally blank. They just come with like these color coordination, the January, February, March, and then the next page is Q2, and then the next page is Q3, and the next page is Q4. But the way that I parse it out, it also has on there goal, and then actual, and then positive and minus different, so you can like track your goals. And then on the bottom, it'll have like your Q1 goal, and then you can put down like if you actually met it, what percentage you were like off or on. And that's for a reason. It's for the reason that you guys are able to like use these and make them your own. So over on this side, I do all of my tracking of like, what are going to be the highlights of this month? Do I have a market? Do I have a product drop? Do I have events that I'm hoping that will bring in some income? And then I can have like a really big view of everything, and then granular if I need to. And then if it goes granular, I have a monthly calendar, same things on there. That monthly calendar is, my monthly calendar is this, like every page is a month. Again, super basic. You even fill in the dates so that you can use it year after year. And what I do is I go in and I'm able to put my little post-it notes. And this is when I like really want to dive deep into what that month is specifically holding. This is when I'm planning for my quarter and more year type of things. quarter year, monthly, granular. And then because my method of madness likes duplication, it makes me feel in control. And like if I write it down more, then it's going to become real sort of thing. I don't know. But then I have this little, like, this is my ride or die. I have one for literally every year. I don't know where my 2021 is, but it's somewhere, or 2022. I don't know. Both of them. But this is my month by month. It's by Rifle Paper Company. I hope they sponsor me someday because I absolutely love their products. And then this is literally every month. I put all of my information down here of like when my workshops are, how I'm tracking with my numbers so far. I put in all my wholesale order accounts over here. That's something I'm hoping to beefcake up. And then that way I have like my totals, and it just, I don't know. It all works for me, but find what works for you. I do have things available though, because I don't just want to be a bump on a log and talk about like, oh, these things work great for me, and then I just don't share it with you. That would suck. I'm hyped about this video because today we're talking about my 2023 to 2024. And the great news for my business, and I share all of this, apples and oranges, guys, and in a way that I want to only motivate you guys and not feel like, well, what is she doing that's so great? Or, I'm working my ass off, and why isn't this coming to fruition for me? Everybody's different, everybody's journey is different, but I wanted to break down the importance of different roles in my business and how they played out and how I'm gonna come up with my game planning for 2024, which has been the last 5 hours of my day today. And let me tell you, let's talk about a little mentee bee. Making goals and committing yourself to them is stressful. It's exciting, but I'm a pessimistic person. I usually find the stress of it before the excitement. I broke down what my 2023 life was, and I will compare it to my 2022. And I realized my business is still doing really well with online and point of sale. So my Shopify is what I use, and it bunches together a point of sale, which is like markets, events, anything where like I'm doing the transaction, I'm taking the card, the payment, so on and so forth. And then it does my online sales as well. And then I obviously can parse those out, which I will share with you guys. In 2022, I had a really great year. I consider 2022 like my first year of like actually having the bandwidth to know what the hell I was doing, in the sense of like where I was tracking, so on and so forth. The timeline of my business, I launched in December 2020. I don't even know, that was a blur. So all of 2021 was literally like my first. It was my year of firsts. So everything was bright, great, exciting, wonderful, brand new. Oh my God, holy shit, what's happening, right? So then 2022 was definitely the year where I was like, all right, now I have like something to compare it to, which is like the lesser of two evils, but also great depending on how you look at it. And then 2023, I was like, oh shit. I felt like I was like really staring down the barrel, because I was like, oh man, not only do I have like 1 year to compare and contrast to, but now I have 2 years. So you can imagine my overwhelm of 2024. Whew. But I'm grateful, I'm thankful, we're still breathing. For a little comparison, in 2022, wholesale orders, meaning that online retailers or mostly brick and mortar retailers and some fair, that part of my business, like my whole year-end take-home in 2022, 29% of my bottom line of gross sales came from wholesale. And I felt like that was like really, really good. So I went into 2023 and I made what I felt like was a pretty conservative goal to obtain more wholesale, because I learned 2 years ago that getting wholesale is not easy as a candle brand that doesn't have like a kitschy or like very attention-getting candle product. I don't have, national brand recognition. Like I'm not a celebrity, like Courtney Cox or Drake or anyone like that. So I know that it's harder to get wholesale, and because there's like kind of an Achilles heel around the fact that everyone has a local candle maker. So regionally, I've done great to the point where I need to stop. And I really need to like find a way strategically to like crack the code to get out. And that was the same case in 2022 when I was making that video. 2022 is 29% of my gross sales. 2023, I went down. Total gross sales was 20%. So I did not hit my wholesale sales goal last year. And that was kind of a bummer because I really could have pushed at the end and I could have like made that goal for me. It probably wouldn't have like done me any favors for like the start of 2024. But I just like could have pushed, and I wished I would have like calculated that in December and known, because I would have been like so much closer, right? So that sucked. I'm going to chalk that one up as a learning experience and hope that that one does not come again, because I was just shy of it. And I was conservative with that goal, so that's even more of me like kicking myself in the ass, but here we are. I need to get over it because my other numbers were absolutely outstanding. In 2022, out of the whole piece of the pie of like my gross sales, 68% of those sales were from online sales and point of sale. So those markets, everything that went through Shopify, everything else kind of goes through like separate billing. But everything that went through Shopify made up of 68% of my year. So then in 2023, last year, 80% of my business went direct to me. So there wasn't like a middleman, there wasn't like a huge break in margins, anything like that. And I say that because obviously we know when we sell wholesale, we discount obviously quite a bit. So we take a bit more of a hit, even though there's obviously 100 different reasons why wholesale is great and wonderful. But 80% of my sales were online or direct to consumer point of sale. And that makes sense because you guys know me, I went balls to the wall on all things point of sale, events, pop-ups, all of the above. So I broke that 80% down. So it went from 68% in 2022 to 80%. So that was surpassed my deficit in wholesale. Out of that in 2022, point of sale equated about 44% of my whole Shopify sale. So obviously like the rest of that would be what? 56% was like online sales, like me just doing whatever, however they find me, email marketing, whatever it is. They go online, they place an order, maybe they pick up, maybe I ship. Why I think that that's interesting is because now going into 2023, because I was so like, about markets, I had a really interesting year because 40%, so about the same, was still point of sale. 48% was online, direct to consumer, was online, people just shopping on our website. But 12% was custom orders, was things like direct invoicing, things that were just very specific. So I thought that was really interesting because that just shows me that like my building of relationships, my kind of like product catalog of what I'm able to offer is growing quite a bit. Like for instance, there was a local real estate agent who had reached out and was like, I want you to do all of these custom orders for me to like send out to all these individual clients. So I did that as like one direct bill to her under Shopify. And I know that that goes into the other category. And that ended up being like $3,000 order. So it's just odds and ends, things like that I need to parse out. But that other category was specifically interesting to me. So while my numbers kind of slid in different directions and molded in different ways, it was still a wildly successful year for me. I think overall my business grew year over year about 22%, which is insane. Because as I'm sitting here today and I'm parsing out what 2024 is going to look like, I'm intimidated, I'm sweating in a sea of self-doubt, and I don't even know how I'm going to be able to pull this next year off. And just so you guys know, like I always make A and B goals, and I've talked about this in some other videos, so if you've been following for a while, maybe it sounds repetitive. But the A and B goals are really good for my mental health, and you know that that's like my Achilles heel, because I am my own worst enemy and critic and all of the above. But my A and B goals are like, my A goal is like, holy shit, girl, you done did it now. You know, maybe we had a good year in the sense of like luck, be a lady, things came my way, you know, whatever it might be. I obviously work my ass off, but like, you know, there's probably some luck involved, maybe some Hail Marys. That's an A goal. My B goal is one that would be, you know, a slight marginal increase, you know, maybe like 5% increase, 10%, depending on where your numbers may lie, you gauge that. But it would be a slighter increase, so it's not like negative or neutral, but it's just enough to feel like, hey, we did better year over year, we've got this. And it was interesting because I look back on my quarterly, this is where this comes in handy. You know, I thought my quarterly of February, for instance, last year was going to be great because Valentine's Day, I had a really nice curated release. February was my worst month out of Q4, and it was my highest goal. So I was able to like soften my quarterly goal, which I still didn't hit Q1 last year, but I was able to make up for it in Q4 last year entirely. So you kind of just like give yourself a little bit of grace because you are your own boss. You're your harshest critic. And so at the end of the day, you make the rules. And so I just realized that my rules need to have a little bit of flexibility and a little give because I know that I will go like straight down with a pitchfork on my own well-being if I don't hit like that like tried and true number that I set for myself. So, you know, set yourself up for success, not the worst. These are just things that I've picked up along the way because over the course of being an entrepreneur since 2015, these are things that I have kind of like ironed out and witnessed working and not working and kind of like reformulated. And who knows, next year I might change the system entirely. I'm also like a creature of like, oh my gosh, like superstition. So I'm like, well, if it worked really well last year, let's just like copy and paste it and add a little more and like make it the same way and like don't rock the boat, write it the same. Like a little bit of my neuroses. We don't need to go into that. That would be a definitely different video. Guys, I absolutely love that you're here. I would love to know how you guys did in 2023. Like, did your business succeed? Did your business maybe stay the same? Did you find some pitfalls that maybe you didn't hit your number, but maybe you can like pin the nail on the head? Yeah, get the nail on the head as towards like why? All of that, any of that, in between, outside, whatever it might be, like leave it in the comments below. I'm always super interested in this feedback and just learning more about this process for you guys. Because let's be honest, as small business owners, we're kind of just working in our own little bubbles. So let's pop the bubble. Guys, thank you for being here. If you haven't yet subscribed, I would be absolutely honored if you would consider doing that. My name is Ashley, and I can't wait to see you in the next few videos. Bye, guys.